Hello and welcome, or welcome back if you're a returning viewer to the channel. WB here, and in this video what I want to do is show you some additional scanning techniques that we didn't get to tackle in our previous video on scanning techniques inside of Nmap. As always, I ask if you're enjoying the video that you see up on the channel, like, subscribe, comment, and share. Check out the description for a link to our community Discord server for tons of additional resources, and so that you and I can continue this discussion after the video ends. Alright everybody, let's go ahead and dive into some more scanning techniques inside of Nmap. All right, everybody, here we are on my desktop. Some additional scan types that I want to cover here in this video, remember, because, well, I talked too much in the first video, and we didn't cover all of them. I want to cover the FIN scan. I want to cover the Xmas or Christmas scan, and then I also want to talk a little bit about some additional scans as well. So, if you were following along with me in the last video, if not, definitely go back and watch that video. I want you to remember that we have some documentation here. Let me turn the sound off on my laptop. So we're going to do nano, and we have our Nmap demo.txt, and this is what we were using in the last video. And remember, I will keep this for us on the Discord server, so it's free. I'm not charging anything. You know, if you want to support me, by all means, you can, check out the link in the description below, buy me a coffee or something. All right, so we did the null scan. Now what we need to do is we're going to go ahead and, oh, by the way, disclaimer, I'm getting used to a new keyboard, so you all out there, I apologize ahead of time because you already know how bad I type, so it's going to be worse than this one. So the next one that we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to cover the FIN scan. All right, so that'll be the next one, and when we do the FIN scan, this is going to be the dash. Remember, we're doing lowercase s on these and then uppercase F. All right, this is called, again, the FIN scan. All right, so what does this do for us when we look at the FIN scan? Well, what this is going to do is it's going to send TCP packets with the FIN flag set. All right, so, oops, flag here, and that's going to be set. So what does this do? All right, well, this is normally used to close a connection. All right, we are finished, FIN. All right, so I do want you to be aware of that. This is slightly more stealthy, or stealthier, I guess I could say. A little bit better English there than the SYN scan. Why? This scan does not complete a handshake. Remember, we're talking about the TCP three-way handshake. All right. So let's go ahead. Let's control O this. We'll save this. I've got a couple of these terminals open already, or the CLI open, and let's go ahead. Now, I have a target out here. It is my Ubuntu machine, right? I've got a purposely vulnerable Ubuntu server. Check out, again, the Discord server, because I do host it on GitHub, and you can have access to it. So that IP address for us is 192, is going to be 192.168.0.250. So I do want you to keep in mind that when we run our Nmap command, right, and we do our lowercase s, uppercase F, remember that we can do this across an entire range, right? I could run this, and when I run this, it will start that. Remember, if you wanted to see how far or how much of the Nmap scan is progressed, just hit enter inside of your terminal. Notice that it says about 71%. So this one wasn't really too bad. All right. Now, notice that when it looks at the FIN scan timing, right, it's about 20% done. Right, so you can see some things that are happening here, and depending on how many net or hosts you have to probe across the network or scan across the network could take a while. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to quit this. All right, and what I want to do is speed up the time a little bit here, because I don't want you to have to wait 20 minutes for a scan of 256 hosts, let alone doing this against like a Class B private IP address, which it would be over 4,000 potential nodes. So we're going to run this right against a single host, and that is, again, this is my Ubuntu machine. Again, a project that I'm working on where it's purposely vulnerable, kind of like Metasploit, purposely vulnerable server, Ubuntu server. All right, and we'll go ahead and run this. And when we run this, you're going to see here that we do have some ports that are open. We have port 21 there, an FTP server. You can see we also have SSH open, we have Telnet, and we have unencrypted web traffic, right? So FIN scan, definitely something that is something you should be aware of. Now let's switch back over to our documentation here, and we're going to talk briefly about the next scan type. And it's right around the holidays for me here. I don't know what at what point you'll be watching the video, but it's right around Christmas time here. And so kind of fitting here. So this is going to be dash lowercase s, uppercase X. So think Xmas, right? This is your Xmas scan. All right, so what is this doing for us? All right, well, with the Xmas scan, what it's going to do is it's going to send your TCP packets with all essentially the FIN here. Well, let's get a little more specific. FIN, push, and urgent set, right? So you can think of it this way, that they kind of say it lights up like a Xmas tree. All right. So what is this doing? All right. This is a little bit stealthier than the SYN scans as well. Does not complete the TCP handshake. Now, what I'd like to do is tell you where this would be useful, right? So this is useful for things like firewall evasion and RFC compliance testing. All right, so that is our Christmas scan. So let's go ahead and let's hop back on over to our other terminal here. And what we're going to do is we're going to change this to a, change this to a Christmas scan. As I continue to struggle with my new keyboard. All right, we'll go ahead and run this. And you can see that it's running, right? And we are getting some outputs here. Again, a lot like what we already seen in the previous demonstration when we're using the FIN scan. All right, so those were a couple that I definitely wanted to talk about. Now, there are some more advanced ones that I want you to be aware of. And when I say advanced, that's what Nmap calls them. But one of them, actually a couple of them, really aren't, useful for everyday use. And one's not really even, I've tried to replicate it, and it's kind of a lost cause. And that's this next one here. All right, this next one, S-I, this is what's known as an idle scan. And it uses a zombie host, all right, with a probe port. Now, I'm going to tell you here that this one requires, well, let me tell you what it does first. All right, so it's supposed to send, it uses a zombie host And what we're doing here is we are essentially making it appear, right, that the scans are coming from that host, right? We're going to use the zombie host to send our probes. All right, it's supposed to make the scan appear as it comes from another host. And I will beautify these notes a little bit later. All right. So that is one of the things that we have to understand that was actually kind of like the goal for this one. Now, that being said, I will tell you this requires very specific systems and environment. All right. Not useful. This is not useful for modern systems. And I'll tell you why. It is supposed to, and it relies on the predictability of IP IDs. And it needs to see those in sequence. Well, the thing is, when you do a scan with this, you're going to see that even if you use a verbose output, that the IP ID is always 0. And it's because the TCP IP stack is zeroing those identifiers, so there isn't predictability, right? And that's been happening a long time. It's very complex to set up, and I've gone back as far as even what Metasploit uses is, for instance, Ubuntu 8.04, and I couldn't replicate it. That doesn't mean it probably can't be replicated by somebody that's a lot more talented than I am, but it's a very specific use case. So we're going to go ahead, and we're not really going to use this one. Another one I want to mention here too, remember that this is for your training endeavors here, is the SCTP options here too. So there is, when we look at, so this is the stream control transmission protocol, and you can do what are known as SCTP, NIT scans. All right. And to tell you about this, right? So when we look at the stream control transmission protocol, it is a protocol that combines, it's transport protocol, and it combines some of the elements and speed of UDP and some of the reliability of TCP in a protocol. But the thing is, this is commonly used in telecom systems. All right, so it sends SCTP, a NIT chunks to probe open SCTP ports. All right, so that's niche on this one. Can be used in telecom systems. All right, so we're going to kind of skip over that one as well. Again, there is one more that I want you to at least have an understanding, right? But I don't think you're going to be using these too many. Never say never, but also there is a lowercase s and an uppercase z. And this is another SCTP scan. This is the SCTP cookie. Oops, cookie. We'll get it right eventually. Struggling with the keyboard here. Echo, scan. All right. And again, another one that I'm going to go ahead, save some time, sends SCTP, cookie, echo chunks to, or after the initial handshake. All right, niche again, telecom systems. All right, so I did want to cover all these because you will see that they're in the output of the Nmap help, and I did want to just kind of briefly talk about that. There's another one that's really good too, and that is the -S and the uppercase O. All right, and what is this? This is the let me take these off. I am changing my naming convention. Let's not do that halfway through our notes. And like I said, everybody, I'll clean these notes up too. And then you can always hop on over to the Discord server. And if you want to use these for your studies, you are more than welcome to. That's why we're here. All right. So this one here is what's known as an IP protocol scan. And if you know a little bit about the IP protocol, there's a series of identifiers that identifies to the type of traffic that the IP protocol or that is being carried in the packet. And what we can do here is it will send, all right, sends packets, packets with varying protocol numbers and observe the response. All right. This is useful for you cyber analysts, cybersecurity analysts. All right. What it helps you to do, it helps to identify non-standard or uncommon protocols running on the host. This is useful for reconnaissance, God, I hope I spelled that right, and protocol mapping. All right, so let's go ahead, let's hop on over. All right, we will save our documentation here. Let's hop on over to our terminal. Let's go ahead and let's run one of those scans. Those of you that are students out there and are still with me, thank you for being with me all the way to the end here. And we're going to run this against our host. All right, and when we run this against our host, you're going to see that there are some IP protocol identifiers right here. Protocol identifier, you got 1 for ICMP, 6 for TCP, and 17 for UDP, right? If we were seeing things like security associations and IPsec, right, we might be seeing, like, for instance, protocol identifier 50 and 51, to give you an example. So this is another one of those that is kind of helpful when you want to do some network reconnaissance. All right, so those were a few of the other types of scans that we didn't get to cover in the last video. There is one more. Let's go ahead and let's hop back on over to our documentation here, because let me not leave this one out. Again, this is another one of those that has kind of gone by the wayside because it does require a vulnerable FTP relay host. Because there's a security patches today, it's not really going to work today, but historically it was used in the past for stealth. All right, this is your FTP relay host, or you can call it, actually, let's call it what it is. All right, this is your FTP Bounce scan. That's what this really is. You can think of it as requiring an FTP relay host. All right. I'm going to go ahead and just put it in the documentation. Rarely works today due to security patching. All right, but I did want to put it in there because it is something that you might find in the documentation and wonder why we didn't cover it. So there you have it, everybody. Some additional scans that we didn't get to cover in the last video. And as always, I ask if you like what you see on the channel, be sure to like and subscribe, leave me a comment or two, and check the description out for a link to our community Discord server, and you can get the notes and more that help to coincide with the video. Thank you so much for taking the time and joining me.